Hello, and welcome to this ANSYS Space Claim tutorial on merging, subtracting, or intersecting a mesh or an STL body. If you haven't opened the part already, you're going to want to go to File, Open, browse to the directory where you downloaded the file, and it's the plastic molded SC-doc. Now, if we take a look in the tree here, notice there's multiple bodies. The one shown with the check mark is Design Mesh, the main body that we're going to be working on. And in order to use the merge, subtract, or intersect tools, you need additional bodies. Notice that we have a few solids at the top with this green cube icon, and we also have a few mesh bodies with this more purple or blue colored icon in the tree. Now, if you're just open Space Claim, you're probably going to be in the Design tab and you want to be in the Facets tab. Remember, this is an additional add-on. So we're going to take a look at the basics of the merge, subtract, and intersect tools. And first, let's take a look at merge. So we're going to want to check the box next to O1 merge support in order to show that solid up here. And if we go ahead and zoom in, we could see the difference between a faceted mesh body like we have here and a regular solid body. Notice that across the top here, it consists of a number of individual triangles, and here we just have a single planar face on the top. Now let's go ahead and turn on the merge tool, and it's always a good idea to look at this status message here, and it says click a target body to merge into, and that's our mesh. Now it says click another mesh or solid body to merge into the part. And unfortunately, we get an error at the bottom that the mesh is self-intersecting. That's a common problem that's easy to fix. We could verify that it's a problem by clicking the check mesh tool, clicking on our mesh, and it says that it's self-intersecting. And we have an easy to use intersections tool that allows us to just click the mesh and then click the check mark. It'll go ahead and repair any of those self-intersections. And if we use the check mesh tool again, we could see no geometry problems have been found. So let's perform the mesh operation one more time. We'll click the mesh tool, click on our mesh, click on our solid here, and they merge together. We'll escape out, zoom in, and we can see the solid body has been faceted. And also notice in the tree that we only have the design mesh. The O1 merge bodies is no longer there. Now let's take a look at a simple subtract operation. And for that, we want to use the O2 cut hold. And if I go ahead and show that here, we can see it's down in this region. So we'll go ahead and zoom in there. And if I uncheck this, notice that there is no hole in the top, and we may want to put one in. So all we have to do is model up the solid. And you might be wondering how we can create solid models in the context of an STL. Well, it's really easy. I'll show you as an example over here. Maybe we want to put an additional standoff here. So it's a matter of selecting the facets that you want to sketch on. Here I'm going to do a double click to select all the facets on the top. And in the design tab, we could choose from any of the sketch tools. I'm just going to make a simple circle here. We'll go ahead and sketch that out. And maybe I'll even make two circles just to show that it could be more than a simple sketch. And then I'll go ahead and use my pull tool, select these different faces here, and pull that down into the solid. Now, you don't want to pull it too far out the other side. So here I'm just going to drag it back up until it disappears into that side so we can't see it sticking out here. But on this side, we do want to make sure that it does interfere or intersect with the body. It's a little better than just having it meet right up to the faces on the STL. And now we can go ahead and use the Facets tab with the Merge tool to select our mesh and our solid. And now we can see that that solid has been faceted and joined into the mesh. So really easy using the sketch tools in the Design tab to create any shape you want and merge that into the solid. But back over here, we want to use that solid we created in order to cut a hole. So we want to do a subtract operation. And it's very similar to the merge bodies tool. First, you click a target body to subtract from. And let me just move this over here so we can see the status message. Click a mesh or a solid body as the cutter, and that's this piece right here. And notice that our cutter disappears and our hole has been cut. But maybe we don't want that cutter to disappear. So let's take a look at O3 cut slots. Two things I want to point out with this. One, this cut slots body is a mesh, just like our main body that we're working on. We could see that from the icon in the tree here. Also, if we zoom in, we could see it's faceted like a mesh is expected to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on my subtract tool again, but here let's take a look at some of the different options. One of those options is called keep cutter. Remember before that this pin we used to cut with disappeared after we made the cut. But if I have that option on, keep cutter, with my subtract tool and I select the body to cut and the cutter to cut out with, and now I hit escape to exit out of the subtract tool, notice that the cutter is still here in the tree and it has made that cut. So you do have the option to keep that cutter. Maybe you want to use it again somewhere else. Merge also has a similar option called keep original bodies, as does subtract. They work just the same. But let's see with merge. Let's go ahead and turn on 04 merge ribs in order to see those. So if we look on the inside here, we have a set of ribs here, and we have this set of ribs here, which is a separate body. Notice that it is not already part of the larger mesh. Now, if I turn on keep original bodies and I do the merge operation, specifying this as my target and this is what I want to merge into it, if I escape out of the merge bodies tool, notice that I still have the ribs here. If I hide the last one in the tree, notice I have the solid before merging the ribs together. And if I hide that and show the last one, I also have the entire model with the ribs added. So you can keep the original body if you want to do a comparison between the original and what you've either merged or subtracted from it. So with merge and subtract, you have the ability to keep the original bodies or not keep the original bodies, including that cutter. And you'll see here that by merging or subtracting, you end up with this one final design. The last tool to take a look at is the intersect tool. So go ahead and check the box for 05 intersection, and you'll find a conical plug down over on this corner here. Let me just hide the mesh body so you can better see what this is. And we might want to create a plug that we can remove and insert into the original model. This could be used for draining powder or material for 3D printing or a variety of other applications. So let's take a look at the intersect tool, and let's go ahead and use the default options, which is to not keep the original body. And let's see what happens. It says click a mesh body. Now it says to click another body to use to find the intersection. And when I do that, all I have left is the intersection of those two bodies. Notice that the 05 intersection is no longer there, and our design mesh is just that intersection. So we don't want that, so let's go ahead and undo and check keep original bodies. We'll do it one more time. Check the mesh, click the solid. And if I escape out of the intersect tool, notice that we have both the solid, the intersection between the solid and the mesh, and also the original mesh body. Now, the last step we need to do in order for there to actually be a plug and a hole to go into is do a subtract operation using that plug. Now, if we do a subtract with the plug as is, we will have a very tight fit between the plug that we created and the hole. So we may want to have a little clearance there, so we could always use the pull tool and pull this a little bigger. And if I undo, I could always type in the exact value. Maybe I want to make it 3 thou bigger, give us 3 thousandths of clearance. Now we'll go ahead and using the facets tab and the subtract tool, we'll click the mesh we want to subtract from, click the solid that we're going to subtract with. I'm going to escape out. I'm going to hide the cutter that we used, and I'm going to show the plug. Now, I'm going to take that plug that we made, and in the display tab under color, I'm going to change it to red, just so we can clearly see the difference between the plug and the main body. Last but not least, I want to go into a cross section to see what this looks like. So I'm going to double click on this face and go into cross section mode. And what's nice is it'll go into a cross section right through those facets that I selected. Down at the bottom here is a move grid button. What you do is you choose the arrow in the direction you want to move the grid, and then you drag in that direction. And if we drag into the plug here and we zoom in, we could see that 3 thou clearance between the plug and the housing. And the amount of clearance you want to choose is going to be based on the resolution of your printer. You just want to make sure that you can get that plug back in after the fact. So here we've gone over the basics of the merge, subtract, and intersect tools found in the Facets add-on tab, resulting in either removal, merging, or keeping of the original bodies, depending on the settings that you want to choose. Thanks for watching and have a great day.